I'm on a mission to make Destiny's forgotten exotics usable, and today I'm using the Ballidorse Wrathweavers. Ballidorse is a warlock exotic that boosts the damage of your super and grants an overshield and 2x stasis weapon surge when casting your freezing rift. Ballidorse look pretty cool, but they're kinda hard to match with anything. I went for a cold, furry fit to go with the stasis. At first I went with Ice Flare bolts to pair with the freeze rift, and I headed into a lost sector just to get a feel for how these work, since I haven't used these much at all. This is when I find out that the overshield that these give are actually a stasis shard overshield. Very interesting. With that in mind, I actually switch over to stasis shards with tracking and overshielding shards to double down on this exotic. Over the years, we've received a lot of really good stasis weapons, but the three that I had my eye on were Wicked Implement, Aegir's Scepter, and Cryosthesia. Deciding which one of these to use really comes down to what activity you're doing. For harder activities where you want some range and can't consistently rely on kills, I would take Wicked Implement. That isn't what I was looking for here, as I took this into a heroic Nightfall and a normal onslaught. I mostly used Aegir's Scepter and Cryosthesia. Aegir's I knew was good, but I don't think I appreciated Cryosthesia like I should have. Nightfall was a piece of cake. Stasis Warlock is really good by itself, and then this exotic just enhances it. It's fun to use a Stasis Warlock that isn't the turrets. In the boss room, I start to notice something though. It's hard to catch sometimes because of the overshield, but something about this setup is causing my rifts to just not heal. I mean, seriously, you put the rift down, it freezes, it shields, it surges, but it doesn't heal. Like, at all. Step out and back in, no heal. Walk around in it, no heal. I'm assuming this isn't intended, as neither dim nor the in-game description says anything about altering the healing from your rift. This is a pretty big bummer and an even bigger thorn in the side of this build. Okay, so the rift is broken, but at least everything else is working, and I wanted to play around with this some more, so after my Nightfall, I went into a normal onslaught. Cryosthesia is awesome. I remember having nightmares about this thing in PvP, but I never thought it would be this good in PvE. Between it and my subclass, everything is frozen. Popsicle dregs and snowball servitors everywhere. I've always really enjoyed the freeze effect from stasis, and this build just takes it to another level. Everything I have freezes, and I'm not usually a fan of the Warlock stasis melee, but with this many shards I'm able to throw so many out that I'm really getting the hang of where to throw this thing. Towards the later rounds I find myself lacking the damage to consistently get the freeze shot with Cryosthesia, even with the 2x stasis surge. I switch over to Aegir's with Scavenger and Special Finisher, and since it's overcharged Trace Rifle, I am tearing through enemies and getting much more freezes. Oh, and I haven't even mentioned the super damage. The super damage is really strong, and it makes the super feel like it's actually doing damage. The normal Stasis Warlock super is quite underwhelming, but with the damage boost, it feels great. I will say you gotta make sure the enemy is frozen before you go for the pulse. I found that on bosses or other targets where the team was focus firing, I would freeze an enemy, and before I was able to pulse, my teammates would shatter him and my super would deal pitiful damage. A pretty small annoyance, but one that you need to watch out for. I was surprised at how good this exotic was, and yeah, most of it wasn't the exotic, it was just the subclass setup and the weapons I was using, but still, this exotic boosted everything that I was doing, and I was having a great time. It's not all sunshine, unicorns, and rainbows though. They really gotta fix that healing rift, and the 2x stasis surge is nice, but it only lasts for 10 seconds after you put a rift down, so I feel like it's not even that helpful most of the time. Regardless, I was vibing with this build. It is a fun departure from the usual stasis turret shenanigans the Warlock is known for. Give it a try and let me know what you come up with in the comments. Until next time.